The Milwaukee Bucks have a golden opportunity to acquire one of the young stars of the Western Conference. And we're going to get into exactly who this young player is and how this team and duo with Giannis Antetokounmpo would shake up the Eastern Conference. How's it going, guys? Jack here with another video of Bucks Digest. Before we get into everything, we noticed that 67.5% of you are not subscribed. So please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Hit the notification bell. We got a lot of news coming for this new regular season. Bucks are off to a really hot start. Having a great start to this new regular season, guys. But let's get into all the news today, which is a new report that links Ja Morant to the Milwaukee Bucks, saying the Bucks have a wild path to replacing Damian Lillard if the Grizzlies fully implode. Now, guys, if you haven't been paying attention to the NBA news so far, you've seen that Ja Morant has been having some animosity and some arguments with the coaching staff, talking to the media, saying that he's not going to talk about it. He's ask the coaching staff. That's what he kept on saying to the media members a couple weeks ago after a game. He's there's clearly some tension there in that organization. We know Ja Morant has been a troublesome player off the course these past few seasons, getting suspended. I believe it was last season or the season before for his off the court actions. So we know how Ja Morant is off the court as a player. Getting into a little bit of trouble here and there, getting suspended from the league for over a quarter of the season. But we'll kind of continue on here into this article that says that Morant and Antetokounmpo would be a phenomenal duo, and I definitely don't disagree with that. But continues on saying here that he enter in Ja Morant, bringing 12 on board would get the Bucks another elite playmaker to stabilize the post-Lillard era in Milwaukee. Very few players in the league bring the kind of electric play and rim pressure that Morant does when he's fully locked in. Pairing him with Antetokounmpo would create a positively devastating inside-out attack and give the Bucks one of the most exciting duos in basketball. And I tend to agree there, guys. Him and Giannis Antetokounmpo would bring an unreal amount of pressure to the rim offensively. I mean, Ja Morant is one of the best finishers, not even at his position, but in the league, finishers at the rim. I mean, his athleticism and his ball control in the air, where he puts his hands around the rim. I mean, he's just is an electrifying player to watch. So I think just putting them together offensively at the rim, just in that sense, would be unstoppable. But you look at Ja Morant here and his stats for his career. I mean, he's got the accolades. He's two-time All-Star. He's made an All-NBA team once before. I mean, he probably would be more All-Star selections and more All-NBA selections had he not he's been injured a little bit in his career. Missing some games here and there in these past few seasons. But as for his career here, he's got really, really respectable stats. I mean, almost 23 points a game, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, extremely efficient score across the board. I mean, 47% overall from the field. Obviously, from beyond the arc, he is not the most talented three-point shooter, only getting in 31% there. And from the line, he's solid, 77%. But take a look at his stats this year, and they look the same across the board. I mean, 20 points a game, 4 rebounds, 8 assists. Not any blocks this year, but he's actually pretty close to averaging blocks a few years in his career. As he's one of the most athletic point guards, so he's really good at pinning the ball and those chase down blocks and getting some help defense blocks here and there. But continuing on, steal the game, 4 turnovers. Not what you want to see out of the facilitator of your team, but early into the season, he might be able to clean that up. 2 fouls per game. Ja Morant's not the most excellent defender, but the intangibles and athletic traits are obviously there for him to become one of the better defenders at his position. What I'm looking at here that's very glaring is his three-point percentage and his field goal percentage. I mean, that is just abysmal right there. I mean, 13% from 3 and 38% from the field. Clearly, he is having a ice cold start to this NBA season, and that is not what you want to see when you see an article about pairing him with the Milwaukee Bucks and acquiring for a player like him who obviously has had his troubles this year with the coaching staff and just can bring the locker room down. And I know it's kind of seems like just downgrading the trader. Some of you might love a trade like this. Some of you might hate a trade like this, but that's kind of what I want to get into just a little bit more here. As I do think Ja Morant can be an excellent player for this Bucks team. As losing the primary playmaker in Damian Lillard and a big scoring pump after trading him back away to the Portland Trailblazers. I think when you bring a guy here like Ja Morant, who obviously has his off-the-court issues and his troubles in his personal life, whatever you want to call it. I think when you bring him to a team like the Milwaukee Bucks, who has a great coach in Doc Rivers, who has been, he's a veteran NBA player, played in the NBA for a number of years. He's a championship-winning coach. previously with the Boston Celtics, and you bring him around a guy like Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's been in the league for over a decade now, and he's one of the best players in the league. And we know Giannis as a person, we know what his character's like. He's very grounded, he's very down to earth, and when you bring someone like John Morant around a guy like that, you think maybe that might brush off on him a little bit, and can kind of change the way that he goes about playing in the NBA, and kind of how he goes about playing in basketball games, and kind of how he carries himself in the locker room, which is really important in this league, and especially important for this Milwaukee Bucks team, who had a lot of doubters going into this year. But obviously they've come off a hot start right now, and they're winning basketball games, and they're kind of blowing everybody's expectations out of the water. So it's really great to see. So you have to think about it from the side of the fans here who don't think that it's a good trade. They think it's a bad trade. I'm kind of on the fence about it. I think a big thing about this is obviously the payroll thing, where we're still paying Damian Lillard's contract, which is over $50 million this year, and that's not something you want to see when you're adding another player like John Morant, who's owed about, I believe it's close to like $50 million, something like that. Yeah, $40 million right there. So you're adding that on, and you just look at John Horst as well. Is he really willing to trade for another star player like that? Because when he traded for Damian Lillard a few years back, that was after he traded Drew Holiday, and at the time there was a lot of animosity between him and Giannis Antetokounmpo, as the trade rumors were picking up again, as they were this past offseason, and you don't want to hear that obviously again. So you have to think, is John Horst really going to take this risk again and trade for someone like John Morant, who has his off the court issues, but he is an excellent player on he's an excellent player on the basketball court, and he could help bring a championship to this Milwaukee Bucks team. He really could. I mean, he's an electrifying player. He has all of the potential in the world. The sky's the limit for John Morant. It really is. But you just have to think, can he ignore the off the court stuff? Can he just focus on basketball? Can he just let everything go and just keep his mind clearly on winning basketball games with the Milwaukee Bucks? But that's something that you got to think about in this trade. You also have to look at the compensation aspect for it. I mean, I think if you look at this roster, of course, we have a lot of guards ourselves here, with Kevin Porter, who's injured currently right now, and we have Ron Rollins, who's playing the best basketball of his career, which we're loving to see. Obviously, I know some people definitely wouldn't want to see someone like Ron Rollins go, or even Kevin Porter Jr., who we haven't really seen play with Giannis Antetokounmpo. But there's a lot of factors to think about in a trade like this, folks. But I really do want to get your thoughts below on if you think we should trade for John Morant. Do you think we should trade for this electrifying star player who really has all the potential in the world? But of course, there is the off the court stuff that brings the value of this trade down. And of course, there's also the payroll stuff, right? Like, is John Horst going to pay John Morant $40 million on top of also paying Damian Lillard his dead cat money as well, which they're taking on after trading him away? So there's a lot to think about in a trade like this. But again, guys, let me know your thoughts down below. I really want to know what you think about this. I'm personally just really on the fence about this. Do you do it? Do you not do it? Maybe it's something that to think about more at the trade deadline, where we're a little late into the season, and there's a little more security, where we know how we stand, and we know the status of all the players, and how exactly this trade would go about. But guys, let me know what you think down below, and as always, go Bucks.